hello there. We'd like to welcome you into the Philly and Fred show for Friday, January 9th, 2026. On today's shows, we're going to make picks for Super Wild Card Weekend. We're going to go through our segments, true or false. We're going to have a power rankings of the playoff teams and then the most pressure on people in the playoffs. Before we get to all that, did you see where after our show Tuesday, Miami fired Mike McDaniels? And that was such a hilarious Dolphins move to bring Mike McDaniel in to the GM meetings and then be like, oh, actually, you're fired. Because I've seen a
Yep.
bunch of people saying, do you think that was a question that McDaniel asked the GMs? What would you think about firing me, and how would you go about doing that? And
Yeah, that
also, my fault, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
And I said also that Harbaugh, that might look like something for Harbaugh because what were the Ravens team? They were always physical. They always ran the ball. They were always tough. What have the Dolphins been lacking since McDaniels was there? What do we always say? They're soft at the line of scrimmage. They can't play in the cold. That's all things that Harbaugh thrived on doing, and his teams always did from when he got there to when he was let go by the Ravens.
Yeah, this was a surprise. I know we talked about this briefly when Dolphins were struggling. Then they ended the year kind of strong, but they're just going clean sweep. They got a new GM already. Just fired their coach. Looks like Tua's gonna be gone from this team, and yeah, they're just clean sweep. I think McDaniel's will find a job as an OC somewhere and be fantastic. But yeah, this caught me by surprise with the way the Dolphins ended the season.
Yeah, he's been linked to the possibly the Lions job, the Eagles job, Commanders job, multiple jobs that he's been connected to since being relieved of his duties. So yeah, I think that'll be his where he should be. I think he's an offensive coordinator. So I think he'll go back to being an offensive coordinator, be really good at that, and then we'll see if he ever gets another head coaching position. Last thing before we get into the slate, I just have to say this. I have a problem with Elon Musk, and it's that his app X has this thing called Grok, and I really wish I could block the word Grok because I'm tired of seeing hornballs see pictures of OnlyFans girls and being like, hey, Grok, put this woman in a bikini. Make this woman naked. It's like, oh my God. I mean, X is a wasteland now. And Grok, I got to see that. I got to see the OnlyFans girls say, hey, put me in a bikini, make me naked. Like, X used to be fun. I used to get good chuckles out of it. Used to give me sports stuff. It's just a vast wasteland now. And I normally go on rants, and when I just seen all this, Grok put me in this, Grok do this, I was like, get Grok off this freaking app. I'm so sick of seeing Grok. I just want to block the word. I don't know how. If we post this and someone can help me block it, that'd be very much appreciated. But yeah, that I go on rant sometimes. That was one I had to get out my anger of Grok. But we'll move on to the slate. First one on Saturday, Rams minus 10.5 at the Panthers. You can go first. What's your thoughts and who you picking on this one?
Give me Rams minus 10.5. They already lost to this Panthers team in Carolina, where Matt Stafford didn't play the best game and still, only lost by field goal. Had a chance to win that game late. Bryce Young been really inconsistent as of late. Rams just they're gonna have too much offense, I believe, for Carolina. Carolina, the worst point differential of I believe any team we've ever seen in the playoffs. I want to say it's around minus 70, just somewhere in that range. I think Rams are gonna have too much for these guys, so I'll lay the 10.5.
Uh, I don't know where to go on this one because last time they played, Stafford had 3 turnovers, and I don't think you could duplicate that again. But I think you can duplicate what the Panthers did in the run game and the time of possession because they had 160 rush yards and they won time of possession 35-25. So I think they can do that again. But like I said, Stafford won't turn it over 3 times. So I don't know though, and it's bad weather. Actually, I'll take the Panthers to cover. It's supposed to rain up there. The Rams to end the year, the last three were giving up 156 rush yards per game. So if they give up something around that, the Panthers take their time. They win time of possession. I think they keep it close, lose by 10, maybe a backdoor cover with 7, something like that. So yeah, I'll go Panthers to cover, Rams to win. Saturday night, Packers minus 1.5 at the Bears. You're the Bears fan. You go first.
Yeah. Not gonna lie to you, this game does fear me. This will be the third meeting between the Bears and Packers this season. The last four times we played have all ended on the last play of the game, so we're probably gonna be looking at another bomb burner. And obviously the Packers own us historically. I do think this is a different Bears team, but we'll just have to see if we get over the hump. The keys for the Bears, we got to get off to a better start. We've started off slow. Both times we played the Packers, the last game versus the Lions to end the regular season, we simply got to put some more points up in the first half. That is just simple as that. And I think it's gonna be bad weather in Chicago, so I think there's gonna be a heavy dose of DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. The Packers, though, they've limped in the playoffs. They've lost their last four. Their last win was versus the Bears. Bears' last win was versus the Packers. So this is tough to predict. I think this is the game that everybody's looking forward to watching, wondering how healthy Jordan Love's gonna be. Is he gonna be rusty coming into this game because he last played versus us? So, but they got some guys that's healthy. They got Christian Watson back. So this is gonna be a dogfight. Ultimately, I think my Bears will pull it out. I think Ben Johnson he's gonna um he's gonna get this offense, I think, rolling, faster, get off to a better start than what we have been, because we can't try to get our offense going in the second half, in the fourth quarter. If that happens, I think we're gonna lose. But I think we get some points in the first half, and we find a way to win this game. So give me the Bears.
Alrighty. I don't really know where I'm going here. I'm gonna have to talk my way through it because I don't trust either defense. Neither defense has really been good. I told you when watching the Bears, the last two games, they've given up 464 yards per game. And I remember I said it after the 49ers game. I was like, I know they don't play well when they don't turn people over, but I don't think I realized how bad they can be when they don't turn someone over. Because in the 49ers game, they just got, I mean, just a lot of yards on them. And then the Lions, they had 430 something, 400 something yards. So they really moved the ball too. They controlled time of possession. Like you said, bad weather. The good thing for the Bears is it's bad weather, but that's fine because they've ran it in the two games against the Packers. They've ran it 32 for 32 for 138, and then 26 for 150. So they have that on their side. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to take the Bears because, but then I don't know because I don't trust either defense. One quarterback in Jordan Love's, he's 2 for 2 in the playoffs. He's played awesome 2 times. He's played terrible with a bunch of turnovers 2 times. And then the other quarterback hasn't played a playoff game yet. Since it's in Chicago, Jordan Love's what am I saying here? Jordan Love, he hasn't played in a couple weeks. Don't know if I think he's healthy, but just maybe rusty. Yeah, so at home, I don't know what I'm going to get out of Jordan Love. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to get out of Caleb either, but he's played well. Give me the Bears to win. And did you know that the Bears have not led a single second in either of the two Packers Bears game this year?
Well, yeah, I mean that does make sense now that I look back at it. Yeah, until we took that lead to win it, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We got to get off to a faster start. But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, because that's I think the Packers have had 42 minutes of winning and one in either high 20s or low 30s in the other one. So yeah, it's a doozy, but we'll both go with the Bears winning there. Next one, Bills minus 1.5 at the Jaguars. Once again, another game. I don't know where I'm going because the Jaguars are better at everything. Their quarterback's playing awesome. They're running the ball. They're stopping the run. Their turnover, or I said their turnover. Their defense gets turnovers, but they don't have the best player on the field is going to be number 17 for the Bills. So I don't know where I'm going to go. Like I said, the Jags are third best turnover differential team in the NFL, 22 interceptions. And Josh Allen lately, that's been his problem when he's gotten in trouble this year and then in prior years. He's been turning the ball over, but he hasn't had an interception his last four. Uh, and it's strength on strength. Number one rush defense by the Jags, 85 yards per game allowed versus the number one rush offense. The Bills are doing it at 160 a clip. The Bills got the best players on the field. Give me the Bills to win and cover.
Yep, this one tough game. This should be a very interesting matchup. You have a total that's sitting around 51, so the books are expecting a lot of points in this game. Like you said, Bills, their best and worst chance, to make something happen this year. You have your worst team that you've had probably in the Josh Allen era, but you also don't have to worry about Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, et cetera, et cetera. I'm gonna take the Jags here. I think they just been riding hot. We've mentioned it every week since the Jacoby Meyer trade. This team's putting up 30 plus points a game. But I mean, on the other side, you have the Bills that they've played very well versus teams with a over a 500 record this season. So they've kind of lost the games that they shouldn't have, but they're beating teams that they should at the same time. I think the keys for the Bills to win this game is really to try to get that passing game going because, as you mentioned, Fred, Jaguars do have the number one rush defense, but the Bills have the number one rush offense. So it's a strength on strength. I think Kincaid, Shakira, those guys are gonna have to be involved in the offense for the Bills to win. Don't know if they're gonna get enough of that. I'm riding the Trevor Lawrence train right now. Give me the Jags at home.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I flipped my pick. I'm going Jags. They're better at basically everything but the QB position and the running back position. But like, I don't know. I don't know how the Bills are gonna have enough offense with how bad the Bills defense has been. I don't know how much with their limitations on offense without having a one or two number one or number two receiver. I don't know. Thinking about it now, if they can just stay on pace with that Jags team at home, warm weather, offense is going to be rolling. They're going to be able to run it on that Bills defense, and really, they can do it either way because I think they can throw on them or they can run it all game on that bad rush defense. Keep Josh Allen and James Cook off the field, and then just win it that way. So the Bills got one chance, one way to win this game. I think the Jags got multiple. So yeah, actually, I'll switch my pick to the Jags. And before we move on, can people stop saying that all the pressure is on Josh Allen to win a Super Bowl this year because Lamar, Mahomes, and Burrow ain't in there? Like their team is not one of the worst teams overall talent wise in the playoffs. This just like we talked last week with Lamar and Josh. They for some reason people go, oh, these quarterbacks aren't in it. It doesn't, and then they don't look at Josh Allen's team being terrible against the run. They don't have a number. They're terrible in two things. They can't run it, or not fault. They can't stop the run, and they have no receivers. So their team's not talented. But yet, people, if he loses this game, people are gonna go, "Oh, he missed his opportunity. See, it's on him. He's a choker." But then you go and look at Josh Allen's playoff stats, and they're better than anyone else, really. So yeah, that was another little rant there. Next, you can go first on this one. Who's your pick? 49ers versus Eagles. Eagles minus 5.5.
Yeah, I don't love this. The spread has been going up and up, which is telling me that there's going to be some key injuries for the 49ers. Not that they haven't played with injuries the entire season and the past few years, frankly. But I think Eagles getting Lane Johnson back, I think that's going to be very big for their offense. Not saying they score a lot, but that defense has been playing really well. I think it's going to be similar to that Seahawks defense last week and how they stopped Brock Purdy in that offense. Don't know if he's healthy with that thumb injury. And Trent Williams might be out as well. Ricky Pearsall, think he's leaning towards doubtful. This is ugly. I'm gonna lay the 5.5 with the Eagles. I don't love this because Eagles offense hasn't been good all season, but this line is just, I mean, it's trap written all over it, I believe. And I saw a crazy stat where Kyle Shanahan, the last four times he's faced a Vic Fangio defense, his teams has put up 11, 6, 15, and 9 points. So they've been terrible offensively. This is in Philly where they can kind of control the time of possession, which they're the kings of that. And I think they're just gonna feed Saquon and 49ers. They're not gonna have. There's not a lot offensively. I think they're gonna do in this game. So it's ugly. But give me Eagles minus 5.5.
Yeah, this is another one I don't know where I'm going to go because last game we said strength on strength. This game's shit on shit because that 49ers defense is not good. They can't get to the quarterback. They can't stop the run. The last 5 games they're giving up 125 yards per game on the ground, 4.7 yards per carry. But then you look at the Eagles, their last 9 games, they're scoring 19 points per game. So it's shit on shit. And then you got a good 49ers offense and a good Eagles defense. That many points, give me the 49ers. I think they can score enough points on this defense to keep it close. I don't think they win, but because I honestly think the Eagles get it going a little bit on just running the ball because, like I said, they're giving 125 with almost 5 yards per carry the last 4 or 5. So yeah, I think the Eagles win, but 49ers keep it close and they cover. Next one. You can go first on this one as well. Chargers at Patriots. Patriots minus 3.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the Chargers plus 3.5. I like the way that defense has played. The back half of the season. Justin Herbert, he got another week off. He missed last week, in kind of a meaningless game. So he's had an extra week to prep for this game. And I think he's 0-2 in the playoffs in 6 years. So I think he's really trying to get that playoff win. Even if he doesn't, I think he'll keep it close within this number. And Patriots may be a little overvalued due to their schedule this season. Had pretty light schedule. I know they've kind of overperformed, but I just think Chargers, they do enough on defense, score enough on offense to keep this game close. So give me the Chargers in the hook.
Alrighty, give me. I might just take Chargers straight up here, but we're gonna go back to your point about Herbert. He's got 2 playoff games. He's 0-2, 52% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 60 passer rating, and he's been sacked 7 times. So not a great start for his playoff career, but I think they win in this one because the Patriots are 25th in sacks. And what have we been saying about the Chargers? That's their one weakness is a backup offensive line. But if the Patriots can't get to the quarterback, then that evens that playing field. And when Herbert's had time this year, he's been awesome. He's just with a backup line, hasn't had time that much. So I think their offense plays well because they can't Patriots can't really get to the quarterback. Herbert plays well. I think he throws for probably 250 plus, 2 touchdowns. And then in the other matchup, the Chargers are great in the pass game. That defense is great in the pass game. Drake May, he's been awesome this year. He's been playing at MVP level. But we got to say what it is. It's his first playoff game. And like you said, they're 1-2 against teams above 500. So they haven't been tested that much. And the last time they were really tested and had game pressure put on them, they were up 21-0 and they lost. So I don't really know how, if that's your example of game pressure and how do you respond, then that's not a great example. So yeah, I think the Chargers go in there. The Patriots don't get after Herbert. Herbert has a big game. They calm Drake May down a little bit. Don't let him go crazy. And yeah, I think they go in there and get a big win. Next. Oh, Texans -3 at the Steelers. I don't know how to feel about this one. We get DK back, but that different. I said that different. That defense is so good. They're so good, and people are scared about the rush. That's not a concern for me because we get the ball out quick. But my concern is that they tackle awesome. They're not like the Ravens. We're not going to throw it to Gainwell and Warren, and they're going to break 3, 4, 5 tackles and get a couple first downs, get some big plays. The Texans tackle. So that's what scares me about that is they got Stingley for DK, and then we don't really have another guy besides our backs, but they come up, their linebackers tackle. But then, I don't know, but then the Steelers haven't lost a home or not. Steelers haven't lost a Monday night game since 1991. I think it's 23 in a row. You know what? Give me the Steelers because I think the Texans, which actually, before I get to that, the one thing that scares me in the other matchup, Texans offense versus Steelers defense, is the Texans really, they go 3 and out a lot. They don't sustain a lot of drives, but they have big plays. And as we seen last week with the Steelers defense, they'll give up some big plays. So that's the one thing that scares me about that matchup. But I think that the Steelers don't give up big plays. They keep this close. And then in the fourth quarter, we saw it last week with Aaron Rodgers. That's why you get him. If they keep this game, and he did the same thing in the Lions game in the fourth quarter, these big time games in the fourth quarter, he has played awesome. So if it gets to that point, which I think it will be, I think it'll be close. And I think Aaron Rodgers, I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers than CJ Stroud. I think he'll outplay him in the fourth. And I think the Steelers get a win on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, this is close for me. I I think Houston wins, but I'll take the +3. I think it ends probably around the field goal in this game. This is gonna be should be a tight one. But I mean, it. If y'all been watching, I'm on the Texans to win the Super Bowl, so I do ultimately think this defense. They travel. This is the best defense in the entire league. C.J. Stroud, he don't have to be great. Get the Steelers under 20 points, and you should win this game. But yeah, that is a crazy stat. 23 straight on Monday Night Football. Haven't lost since 1992 for the Steelers, so that's kind of crazy. On the flip side, Tomlin Steelers haven't had a playoff win in about 10 years, so that kind of concerns you. But I think Rodgers. I don't think he's gonna have the best game with this defense. You do get Metcalf back, but I think he's kind of just gonna be boxed. This defense is really that good. C.J. Stroud, he hasn't looked the greatest in the second half. That does kind of concern you. But like I said, he don't have to be great, just more so of a game manager. And you do wonder about the conditions. This will be outdoors, should be a colder game. Texans are used to that inside dome. But I think they win. They'll win by 1 or 2, I think, in this one, or maybe land right on 3. So yeah, Texans to win, Steelers to cover.
Well, and like you were saying, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers will be, I don't think he'll be great all game. But like
Yeah.
last week against the Ravens, he wasn't good for 3 quarters. But you get him to the fourth quarter, and
Mm-hmm.
the helmet messes up, and then he starts calling his own plays and drawing his own
Yeah.
routes up, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, look, this offense looks different. The arm's still elite, so
Yeah.
yeah, I think he just plays really well in the fourth. But another didn't mention this earlier. Darnell Washington's he's a huge killer in this game to not have, because our run game's been worse since he's been out there. Because when he was out there, we'd run that two tight end set, and you basically just have an extra tackle on the field. You could run a toss, and then every time off play action, if you got the ball in his hand, he looked like the great Khali in the longest yard, and five people would have to come up to tackle him. So yeah, we got to mention that injury, it hurts, but like I said, I think we get close in the fourth quarter, and I think Rodgers takes us to a playoff win. Alrighty, that's it for the slate. On to true or false. I'll go first on this one. Speaking of the Steelers Texans, true or false? If the Steelers lose to the Texans and go one and done again, Rodgers and Tomlin will both not be back. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna go true, because if they lose, people have already talked about Tomlin going back to TV. So I think that happens there. Either it's a mutual parting of ways, or Tomlin just says, "Oh, I'll leave, I'll step away, I'll do TV, and then I'll come back and maybe coach." And then Aaron Rodgers, if this team's not close to winning a Super Bowl and they lose like that and they maybe get dominated again, I don't see how he would come back or why, because you're not going to win a Super Bowl. The Steelers aren't going to get magically awesome in the offseason. So, yeah, I think if the Steelers lose this one and kind of get beaten pretty bad, I think Tomlin and Rodgers are both gone next year.
I'm gonna go true as well. Tomlin, you know, if he like before, last week, Steelers fans were kind of hating the guy since maybe like week 9, week 10. And if he doesn't get a playoff win this year, I think there would be no reason to bring him back. Obviously, you want to win games in the playoffs, not just get there. And then Rodgers, that would be. I agree with you. There would be really no point of bringing him back. You're plus 40 years old. You've already got a Super Bowl, 4 MVPs, and you're trying to win at this age, not just go to the playoffs. So I mean, you don't. If Tom was gone, there would be no reason, try to get in another rebuild. So I think they would both be gone with loss to the Texans. So
Alrighty, you can go next on this one. True or false? There's more pressure on Sean McDermott for the Bills to win than there is on Josh Allen.
I'm gonna go true because Josh Allen, he showed you in playoff games he's gonna perform. I don't think any of the losses the Bills have taken the last 3-4 years in the playoffs have been because of Josh Allen. McDermott definitely has a little bit more pressure on him to win than Josh Allen has, because like I said, your defense, with 13 seconds left, gave up a field goal that ultimately lost you the game versus the Chiefs. Like that's not Josh Allen's fault at all. He never touched the ball, and it's all gonna fall on the coach, obviously, because Josh Allen, he's been money. So I think true.
Yeah, I'm going to go true too, because Sean McDermott, he's a defensive guy. And not only that, not only did they lose when they gave up 42 points and gave up a field goal with 13 seconds, last year they gave up 32 points to the Chiefs, who looked like they couldn't score on anyone else. They were just winning low slug out battles. And then they play the Bills, and somehow they get 32 points, and it looked pretty easy. So, yeah, I'm going to go true as well, just because at some point, I mean, the guy can't keep winning. The guy can't keep playing this well. And then the guy can't keep playing this well and you keep losing. And the offense always looks awesome, or sometimes it doesn't look awesome, but he's just that good and creates enough to where you score enough where you should win. And then let's not even add in the drops and the missed kicks and all the other stuff. So Yeah, I'm gonna be with you there too. I'm gonna go true. True or false? Hey, we're gonna base this on the AFC and the NFC. True or false? 3 out of the 6 road teams at least will win this weekend. You can go first.
Hmm. At least 3 of the 6. Do you have yours ready? Sorry, I'm trying to think of
What angle? All right,
who's
bet
on the
an
road.
angle out for the clip. I'll just say it again and then we'll just do it from there. Uh,
Okay, baby.
true or false? True or false? Half of the wild card road teams will win this weekend, and I'm gonna go true because I think the Texans. Well, I can't say that. I just said the Steelers, but I I think at least the Chargers. I took the Jags, but I mean the Bills still have Josh Allen. The 49ers haven't looked great, and but they could still come out with how bad that Eagles offense is. And then, like we said earlier, the Packers, the Bears haven't led in the 2 games they've played against the Bears, so the Packers could absolutely win. So yeah, I think at least half of the road teams win this weekend. What say you, Philly?
Yeah, I'm gonna go true too. I'm right at 3 out of the 6. I have Rams, Chargers, and who was the other? Oh, Texans coming out with victories this weekend. So yeah, I'm right at 3. I think Niners, Packers, and Bills ultimately do fall though. So yeah, I have half of the road teams winning. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the Rams. Completely forgot about that one. But yeah, that's it for true or false. Next, you can go first, Philly. Give us your plow or go ahead, Philly. Give us your playoff power rankings.
Should I start from 14 down or?
Yeah, give us your playoff power rankings from 14 to 1 in that order.
Yep. 14, I have the Panthers. 13, Steelers. 12, Packers. 11, Chargers. 10, Bills. 9, Eagles. 8, Chicago Bears. 7, Niners. And I know I have the Eagles covering versus the Niners, but I still ultimately think the Niners are a better team. 6, the Broncos. And then here it goes, top 5. I have the Patriots at my top 5. Love what Drake May has done this year. Mike Vrabel and that staff. I do think the schedule was a little bit light, but you still handled most of the opponents that you played all year. I only finished with 3 losses. So I got to put my Pats right there at 5. Texans at 4. I just think this defense has balled out this season. People forget this team started off 0-3, and you made adjustments throughout the season. And yeah, that defense, it's very capable of winning a championship. One of the best defenses we saw in a while. So they're filling in at 4. 3, I got to put the Jaguars there. The way you played the second half of this season has just been phenomenal. Trevor Lawrence looks way better. Jacoby Myers has kind of revamped that offense. Your defense is playing lights out, getting all the turnovers you need. So they're at my 3 spot. Rams too. At times, I mean, you just look unstoppable on offense. Your defense looked way better at the beginning of the season. Kind of falling off the back half of the season, but with that offense, you feel like you can kind of outscore anybody in any game. So they got to be my 2, and then at 1, the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, your top 5 offensively and defensively. The only question you have is really Sam Darnold, which he's been good the past few weeks. He only needs to be a game manager as well when you have that run game going. So Seattle definitely looks like, I think after week 18, they do look like the best team at the moment. So they got to be at my one. How about you, Fred?
All righty. I'm going to go from 14 to 1 as well. First, 14th, Panthers, 13th, Steelers, 12th, Packers, 11th, Bills, 10th, 49ers, ninth, which they're not going to like this, but the Broncos, 8th, Chargers, 7th, Eagles, 6th, Patriots. And then we get into my top five, which is hilarious that I have the Texans at 5. Me picking the Steelers is possibly my Steeler fandom, but we won't speak on that. It's a different segment. Yeah, like you said, the defense is awesome. The offense has made enough plays to be scoring more than 20 points. And like we said, if they score more than 20 points with how good that defense has been this year, they're going to win a lot of games. And that defense can hold, I think, 4 straight teams under 20. So I think they can go to the Super Bowl and win it. Fourth, uh, I got the Bears, which actually, now that I think about it, I'm going to flip this. I'm going to go from Bears are 6, Patriots are going to be 4, and I'm going to put Patriots 4 because they got Drake May, they got Henderson, they got that run game. But what does scare me about them is their defense. So, yeah, they got a lot of talent. I think they got some dudes, but they'll scare you a little bit. And we got the same top 3. Jags at 3. I mean, offense absolutely rolling. Trevor Lawrence, uh, absolutely balling out since that Jacoby Myers trade. We've talked about their points per game being ridiculous since then. They got a run game going now. They got receiver weapons. And then on defense, they turn you over. They stop the run. That's pretty good formula, I'd say, especially in the playoffs. 2 Rams. Rams, I mean, I don't think anyone in the NFL has a better combination of coach, quarterback, receiver than the Rams. Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, Puka Nakua. I mean, you could say it's possibly the best coach in the league. Stafford's possibly playing the best of anyone quarterback wise. And Puka was number 2 in receiving yards this year. So offensively, I think they're awesome. They're going to have the better coach. They're going to have the better receiver. They're going to have the better quarterback in pretty much every game they play. So that's why I got them at 2. And then Seahawks, like you said, at 1. I mean, they're the most talented team. They just are. I don't really see anyone close to them on I think they're a top 5 offense and defense. Their head coach, I mean, guy's been just won games ever since he's got there. But like you said, the thing that's scary is that their most unreliable, unpredictable player is their quarterback. So the most important position in the sport is what you're most unreliable at. And what I don't know what I'm going to get. Is he going to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns? Maybe. Is he going to throw for 200 and throw 3 picks? Yeah. He's done that this year. So, yeah, I got them at 1, but I do have my doubts. All righty. Next one. This is either basically QB or coach. Philly, you go first. Who are the top 5 guys in the playoffs with the most pressure on them to win?
Yeah, I'll start off at 5. And I think at number 5, I have Justin Herbert. Look, he's 0-2 in the playoffs, and this is his 6th year. So people are wondering, when he's going to get that first playoff win. I know he has a broken hand, but he's been playing through it for the past 2 months. So that's not going to be an excuse now. Last year, you had 4 interceptions versus the Texans. It's just a no-no. You can't have that happen. 2 years before, you gave up a 27-0 lead, although that's predicated towards the defense. But, offensively, I mean, you still got to do something different. There's just no way that can happen. So, I mean, this year you're facing a QB that's never been in the playoffs. So, what are you going to do? You going to step up to the plate and win or what? So that's who I have at number 5. At number 4, we have Trevor Lawrence. I mean, this was a number 1 overall pick 5 years ago. You've been pretty inconsistent your whole NFL career. People have been wondering, when you're gonna put it together. And the back half of this year, you've been doing that. But I mean, you only have one playoff win in your 5 seasons. So, I mean, you have a lot of pressure on you. You finally get a home playoff game. Are you going to step up to the plate, or are you going to go home early again? So, Trevor Lawrence, that's at 4. Sam Darnold, he's coming in at 3. The last 2 seasons in the regular season, your record is 28-6, but you still do not have a playoff win. You have the most talented roster in the whole NFL, in my opinion. And yeah, your defense is they've been helping you win a lot of games this season. So I mean, are you gonna finally win a big playoff win? Or are you gonna go? You already have a bye, so are you gonna go home early again, or you gonna finally get a playoff win and try to get your team to the Super Bowl? So that's 3, Sam Darnold. Number 2, we already went over this one. I think it's Sean McDermott, coach for the Buffalo Bills. You don't have to deal with the Chiefs, Bengals, Ravens, none of those teams this year. This is your worst roster since you've had the Bills, or at least in the last 5 years. But you still got the best quarterback in the league, and Josh Allen. You have the best rush offense. Can you finally get over the hump and get to the Super Bowl? That's the big question we've been asking about, the Bills, all season. When are you gonna get past the AFC Championship and get to the Super Bowl? So I think Sean McDermott has tons of pressure on him, but I think nobody has more pressure on him than Mike Tomlin. As you know, Fred, I mean, your whole Steelers fan base have been wanting him gone, questioning his play calling, some of his decision making throughout the season in the last few years. People say he plays kind of an old school, football, which might not work these days. He hasn't had a playoff win in almost 10 years. You've got to think if he doesn't get one this year, then he's probably out. Because yeah, that's quite ridiculous that you've made it for 8 9 straight years, but you still don't have a win in those. So he definitely has tons of pressure, to get that win. And really, you would want a few wins, at least get to the AFC Championship for him to be comfortable. But ultimately, I think Mike Tomlin has the most pressure out of anybody in the playoffs. So yeah.
All righty. Good list. I'll go next. Gonna go from 5 to 1. The people I think that have the most pressure on them, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna start like you did. Number 5, Justin Herbert. And it sucks because, like you said, I know his hand's broken. I know his offensive line sucks, but people don't care about that. People want to see you win in playoff games. You've had 5,000-yard passing seasons. You've had 4,500-yard seasons. You've thrown for 30 plus touchdowns. You can run it. You can throw it. But people only admire what you do in the regular season for so long. And then they got to see that transition into playoff success. So I don't think he's got to go to the Super Bowl, but at least win a playoff game. Because, I mean, going 3 years and losing 3 straight playoff games, especially if he doesn't play well, puts him to where it's like, well, people won't care what you do in the regular season because they think you're just going to be terrible in the playoffs. So, yeah, I think he's at 5. 4 is Trevor Lawrence. You finally started playing well. But if you do all that and throw and have all them touchdowns and yards per game throwing the ball, none of that's going to matter if you play bad and lose a playoff game. People are just going to think of that playoff. They're not going to think of the run in the regular season, the 8 straight wins. They're going to think of and remember you for your playoff loss where you threw for 200 yards and you had 2 picks. So I think everybody's some people have switched their thoughts on what he could possibly be. But I think if he has a bad playoff game, those all go right back to, well, he's just not the guy. He's not the guy we thought he was going to be coming out of college. 3, Sean McDermott. I mean, like you said, it's Josh Allen's playing awesome. Like he's played awesome in all the playoff games. You can't blame the quarterback. You're the defensive guy, and your defense has lost multiple games. I know you're not the defensive coordinator. I know you don't call the plays, but you're still responsible for that defense. And in the biggest moments, your defense has not come to play. And just like we saw with Harbaugh, these owners, when they find a franchise QB like Josh Allen or Lamar, they'll only sit aside for so long before they're like, well, if you can't win with this guy, we got to find someone who can. So I think it's very possible that he is out if they lose, especially in the first round. Number two, like you said, Mike Tomlin. I mean, not winning a playoff game in that many years. It's Pittsburgh. People expect excellence. People are tired of them saying, "Oh, they've finished over 500 for 23 straight seasons." Nobody cares about that. They'd rather finish under 500 a couple of times and then win a couple of playoff games. So, yeah, I think he needs to win this one. He needs it big time. He needs it more than any coach needs a playoff win. So, yeah, he'll be two. And then, yeah, one, Sam Darnold. You were great last year, all regular season. And then you played terrible against the Lions the last game of the regular season. And you played terrible against the Rams to lose in the playoffs. And what everybody think? Well, it was a nice story, but he's not a franchise QB. So if, especially with that roster, if they lose and he throws 3 picks and he's the reason they lose, I don't know what they can do because they signed him to a couple-year contract, but it looks at that point where the Seahawks might think, oh, well, if he can't win with that team, he can't be our starting quarterback. So they might not bring him back or might figure out to do something to where they can get a new quarterback. Because, like I said, if you can't win with this team, there's not many teams you can win with. But yeah, that's it for the pressure. Last segment, you can go first. Who makes a statement this week in Philly?
Hmm. Give me Give me the Jaguars. I'm gonna take Trevor Lawrence and them boys to make a statement. Like we already said, like you have one playoff win in your 5 years. You supposed to be the man when you came into Jacksonville at number one overall pick. I get it. You're facing the Bills, who a lot of people, are saying, they need to make a statement as well. This is their best chance to go to the Super Bowl. I think it's their best and their worst. But ultimately, the way your team's riding hot, you're on a 8 game win streak, I believe. So you need to make something shake here. You're at home as well. Your defense is playing lights out. I think Jaguars. I think they make a statement and send the Buffalo Bills home early.
All righty. My statement's going to be the Chargers. I think they go into Foxborough. They don't let the Patriots defense get after Herbert. I think Herbert has a big day. He looks good. He gets his first playoff win, shakes off a little bit of that pressure. Harbaugh gets his first playoff win there. Their defense suffocates Drake May. I don't think Drake May plays extremely well. I think he has a tough day in his first one. And I think they bottle up the run game. I think they go in there and get a big win, and then people take them as a real threat to win the Super Bowl. So that's it for that. Anything else before we get out of here, Philly?
No, I think that's it for me.
All righty. We'll see y'all on Tuesday.